Welcome back to Research. I'm really excited to start this spin-off called Buy to review individual projects on a more granular level. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I really get into it. The idea here is to provide my opinion on whether I would invest in a project or not based on things that I consider important from an investor's point of view. For this inaugural video, I'll review Reina Condos by Urban Capital and Spotlight Development. This project is unique in that it's the first development in Canada to be led by an all-women team. Now, considering that up until the 1960s, a woman couldn't get a mortgage without a male co-signer, this is a pretty cool contrast. And it's a neat parallel with the intent behind this channel. So let's get started. Reina is located at 689 the Queensway, which is at the intersection of Royal York and the Queensway. It's in a neighborhood officially called Stonegate Queensway, and the important thing to note is that from the last set of available data, which is between 2011 and 2016, this neighborhood's growth rate is 1.5%. To give you a comparison, the city of Toronto experienced a growth rate of 4.5% within the same period. Now, although the growth rate is not the same as the rest of the city, it's still an early indication that this neighborhood is a desirable place for people to move into and is experiencing growth. Let's move on to the actual structure. It's 9 stories tall and 197 units. You'll see that the building steps back on one side and that the balconies are kind of this half moon shape. Now, this may present some challenges for patio furniture if your balcony ends up being really small. I will refrain from sharing a design opinion because it's too subjective and I want to stick to the facts as much as possible. So, if this is the kind of aesthetic you're into, let's proceed. There are 4 items that form my checklist when I'm evaluating a project with my investor's lens on. They are elevators, pool, access to transit, and grocery stores. Let's go through the checklist for this project. Elevators. Is there a ratio of 1 elevator per 9 to 10 floors or better? I have another video that I can link here that goes into the reason why. Now, you can't really tell where or how many elevators are in this building from this floor plate, so I went onto the City of Toronto site and looked at the elevator shafts on the architectural drawings. There are 9 stories, so really 1 elevator wouldn't work because you need another one to be able to go into service. That's an easy check in this box because there are 2. This is really more of a concern in condos that are much taller. Pool. I no longer invest in buildings that have pools because of the relatively higher maintenance fees during operations. There is no pool planned in the amenities section of this building, so this is going to be a check for me. Transit. What I've learned is that there's an implicit preference for nearby transit to be on rails, a sort of hierarchy, so to speak. So the first choice would be a subway or GO station, followed by a streetcar, and then a bus. The understanding is that when it's on rails, it typically has its own right-of-way, meaning that it doesn't have to compete with other kinds of transit on the street. This benefit unfortunately does not apply to streetcars. Aside from the nearby bus routes, this project is 1.5 kilometers away from Mimico GO station, which is a 19-minute walk. Ideally, the maximum should be a 10 to 12-minute walk, but the good thing here is that it is within a walkable distance. If you're a driver, the highway is also easily accessible from this location. So we can check this box. Grocery stores. Whether you plan on living in this unit yourself or you plan on renting it out, being close to a full-service grocery store is important. Being within walking distance to a grocery store is especially important if you don't have a car. This project is located 4-minute walk away from No Frills, and there's a Costco that's 11-minute walk away. Now, I know what you're thinking. If you're going to Costco, you're not going to be able to walk back with all the things that you can stock up on. But it's close enough in that if you have to ride share back, it's not going to be too expensive. So we can check this box. So far, so good. You always want to double check the developer to make sure that they're not one of those developers that has pulled the plug on projects after hanging on to people's deposits for a while. This has unfortunately happened in Toronto and the GTA. There's no science to my method here. I check Google for any red flags or notices of bankruptcy and then look through the developer's completed projects. No red flags for urban capital or spotlight development. One of my favorite things to look at when evaluating a project are the adjacent developments, if there are any, because this will influence my decision on whether I will buy or not, and if I do, which unit. In order to do this, we'll need to look at a couple things: land use designation, zoning, and nearby applications. First, land use designation. This is like zooming out before you zoom back in so that you get a bigger picture understanding of what's going on in the neighborhood. Okay, so here is the site within red, which is designated as mixed use. I want to draw your attention to the yellow that's immediately to the south. It's designated as neighborhood, consisting of detached houses. This indicates to me that for the foreseeable future, there shouldn't be another condo that gets built immediately to the south because it would require all the homeowners in this area to sell their homes. This is a good thing to keep in mind if you're considering paying a premium to face south or for a certain view. In comparison, if the site was located here, the probability of other condos or commercial getting developed around you increases, since this entire area in red is designated as mixed use. Let's zoom in a little closer to zoning, which specifies the maximum height, density, and other restrictions. What the zoning map shows here is just more detail about the requirements and restrictions in the area. And what's important for us to know in this context is that they're all houses. Okay, that takes care of the south, but what about the north, east, and west? As of January 9th, 2021, the only applications in the immediate area are people making changes to their houses, which are all in green. Reina is the dot in blue. So it looks like for the time being, there aren't any competing up-and-coming developments that would negatively impact this project. Next, floor plans. Ah yes, I'm pretty picky with an emphasis on practical, so let me walk you through my top 2 picks and why they're my top 2 picks. Here is the VIP pricing list from October 2020 and all the units that were available at the time of release. Of everything that was available, my top 2 picks are the B5 and the C20. Let's start with B5. It's a 1-bedroom plus den, 675 square foot, north-facing unit going for $631,000. What I like about this unit is that the bedroom can comfortably fit a queen-sized bed, which is what's depicted here, and it's scaled. As you can see, there's still ample room around the bed for dressers if you need them. Next, both the bedroom and living space have windows. The living space is very open, so very versatile in terms of what you can do with your furniture. I also like that the den here is completely separated and sectioned off from the other spaces so that you can have a dedicated office space. There's a built-in desk here, which I personally wouldn't use because there's not enough space, so I would likely insert more shelves and make the whole thing into a bookshelf. Lastly, the washroom has lots of space for additional shelving or storage here and here. This nook right next to the washer and dryer is also great for housing your broom, your mop, your Swiffer, things like that. One last thing I would recommend if you end up buying this unit is to request one of these units, because this is the elevator, so if you're on this side, you can reduce the foot traffic in front of your door. My other pick is the C20, which is a 2-bedroom, 905 square foot unit for $765,000. Has a tiny bit of western exposure. There are a lot of great features about this unit. It's a split bedroom layout with a dedicated washroom for each. The walk-in closets are massive, and both bedrooms are a great size, but a little bit on the narrow side because the width is less than 9 feet. The living and dining area is a nice open space. There's not a lot of counter space in the kitchen, so I would recommend getting one of those mobile islands or shelving you can install along this wall. Or you could swap out this sliding door for a regular door and extend the kitchen counter to form an L. The major drawback of this unit is that you're going to get very little natural light because of where it's located on the floor plate. You see, it's the inner corner of the horseshoe, so this side essentially blocks out any sunlight that could reach into your unit. It's also right next to the elevator and garbage chute, so it's going to be a busy corner. But keep in mind that unless you have an unlimited budget, you can't win them all. In this case, I like this unit because of the layout and space, and I would be willing to sacrifice the natural light. If you love your vitamin D, this is not the unit for you. Okay, let's take a look at value and projected gains. The average price per square foot in this neighborhood in 2020 was $789. There are two comparable buildings that are within 500 meters of this project that are similar in height and statute. The average increase per square foot per year is $76. I have another video that goes into detail, step by step, on how you can calculate this yourself that I can link here. So let's take a look at projected value when this building is scheduled to achieve occupancy in 2024. This also assumes that you're going to be selling in 2024. Keep in mind that when you're buying pre-construction, you are paying a premium because you're buying future value. If the average price per square foot in the neighborhood in 2020 was $789 and the average increase per year is $76 per square foot, the projected price per square foot in 2024 is $1,093. Let's go through my top two picks separately. At $631,000 for the one bedroom plus den, you would be paying $935 per square foot, and if you sold in 2024 for the projected price, it would equate to $737,775. The gross profit would end up being $106,775. At $765,000 for the two-bedroom pick, you would be paying $845 per square foot. Assuming you sell this unit in 2024 at the projected price per square foot, it would equate to $989,165, meaning your gross profit would be $224,165. Keep in mind that although these projections are precise, there will be some variation depending on the market. For example, between 2019 and 2020, the average increase per square foot was only $20, but the previous years were much higher. No idea what happened between 2019 and 2020, so just keep that in mind when you're doing your own research. So, after everything that we've analyzed, what is the final verdict on this project? Is it a buy or a buy? In my opinion, Reina is a buy. Now, I know this video is quite detailed, so I hope you're still with me. It's important to me that I get into the nitty-gritty before providing a recommendation because it's a big purchase. And having to work my butt off myself for my own investments, I know what it's like. This is the intended format and content for future buy or buys. So if this is working and you found it useful, send me a like so I know to keep going. As always, suggestions are always welcome in the comment section below. Thank you so much for tuning in to research, and I'll see you next time. Take care.